Hey guys, welcome back to another live. And today is going to be super exciting. I'm super stoked. We have someone super special, and his name is Zach Hill from TCM Security. So today we're going to be talking about stuff like the PMPT, just a day in the life with Zach, and see how that is, and just catch up and shoot the stuff. So here he is, and what's up, Zach?
Oh, what's going on? Thank you for having me today, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, awesome. So I guess like just to start off, how's life? How's things at TCM? How is just everything, dude? Like, how is everything?
I can't really I can't really complain. I honestly can't. I feel like things are going pretty well. So I almost hate saying that sometimes because I've often shared like a lot of struggles that I've had in my life, but like for
Mm-hmm.
once, like things are actually like going pretty well, So I'm just at a point where I'm working all the time, which is great. I love it, and I have a family, and they keep me busy. So,
Mm-hmm.
between those two things, like those are like the two biggest joys in my life, like my job and my family. So, that's literally like all that I do. Is
Awesome.
work and hang out with the fam. So
And
I'm
that's a
happy.
blessing. That's a blessing. So go back to what you just said. You went through a struggle, you went through some time in your life, and now you are here today. You know, Dissect whatever you want to, tell us. So what was the struggle, if you don't mind me sharing, and how did you get through that struggle, and how did you get to where you're at today?
I think it's an ongoing struggle, right? It's just like mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I've shared vocally, I've shared in videos,
Mm-hmm.
in live streams, interviews plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I have dealt with all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, from the time I was like 15, and that's really the time that you're growing up, you're trying to figure out the world, you're trying to figure out yourself. So really it's like I feel like my entire life I've dealt with that.
Mm-hmm.
And times obviously get much harder than others. There's good times, there's bad times.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, yeah, I always look at for the light at the end of the tunnel type of thing. Like I've always like been that type of person where like I've always kind of seen like um there's more out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like me. I have a family.
Mm-hmm.
The last 8 years I've dedicated really a lot of my life to helping people,
Mm-hmm.
with like my YouTube channel and things like that, and the way that everything has progressed in that aspect. So, um, for me, there's, I guess there's a lot there. There could be a lot to dissect that I don't really, I guess, want to take, I don't want to take a lot of time with that, I
Yeah.
guess. But I feel like a lot of people who are, a lot of people around just in general, they struggle with mental illness and things like that. And I guess that's not even a term we're supposed to use anymore or whatever. But like, something I've dealt with all my life. And I know a lot of people, they deal with that. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't vocalize that. They don't share enough of their thoughts, feelings, and things like that. I know it
Exactly.
could be difficult. Believe me, like I grew up in a household where like my dad did not accept the fact that like there was something, that was causing me like distress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know a lot of people deal with that as well, but I think it's important as a human being to share some of this information, to share your personal struggles and like the things that you've experienced, because there's other people out there that experience it as well. And I think not only just like myself, but even like our entire team at TCM Security has shared, um, you know, those beliefs and aspects and personal things about their lives as well.
Exactly. Exactly. And kudos to yourself. Cheers for that, man. And same thing with Heath, which is the CEO of TCM, for you folks don't know. And like him saying where he grew up, well, not where, like how he grew up and the struggles he went through and where he's at today. So kudos to you, Heath. Like, hats off to you, dude. Like, much
For
love,
sure.
kid. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, and I have that, right? Like, everyone, we come on these streams or we come on these videos and just talk about the topic that we are conveying, right? A hack the box, a try hack me here. This is how you get into AD and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, when that camera goes off, do you just soak in a pillow? Like, do you converse with your friends? Do you just keep it inside? And a lot of folks just like keep this inside and like nothing's wrong with me. And that's no bueno because like we have such a huge community, especially you, and like conveying that to folks like, hey man, like talk about those struggles, because, that's can probably, prevent suicidal thoughts and suicide in general. Like, I
For sure.
have two friends that I played soccer. One played soccer with, and one I played hockey with. And you go to soccer with this kid, fucking kid. The kid was a killer. You know what I mean? Awesome on the pitch. One Sunday, I'm like, "Where's Rodrigo? He shot himself this morning." What? Like, literally, we practiced on Wednesday night, and today's Sunday morning, and we were just chatting last night in a WhatsApp chat, and now the kid is gone.
Yeah.
Just probably because maybe that was his little outlet, hang out with some friends, kicking the ball around, and God only knew what was going, on behind closed doors. In similar situation with a friend I play hockey with, like, he wasn't a killer on the ice, but he was a good player. And same thing, like, but he's in New York. He's in the neighborhood I grew up in. And the same thing, like, I'm like, where's his name is Eric. I'm like, "Where's Eric?" I haven't heard from him. And then his, folks went into his apartment and he killed himself. I think he OD'd on pills. He didn't shoot himself, because guns in New York are really hard to get. But so yeah, man, like, if anyone's listening to this, like, I know this is going to be a day in the life and all this stuff, but talking about this stuff is super important as well, because
And there's a lot of communities out there, and that's really like what I wanted to bring up, and kind of why I touched on that, is that there's a lot of like Discord communities, and believe you have one, and there's plenty of them out there where people are able to kind of network with one another and share some of these similarities of struggles that they may having. And it might just be like, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to share your struggles that you're having, learning something new, and that develops into something, right? And but that's just like maybe something that helps you, right? It's just, that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Like, there's a fantastic community that we have in relation to cybersecurity, I think, where a lot of people are extremely supportive of one another.
Exactly.
And that's where I feel like, you doing what you're doing here, and others, it's very helpful for people who are trying to break into, IT, or break into cybersecurity specifically. So I appreciate, you and others like you who are doing things like this, because it's really helpful and amazing for the community.
And, the feeling is mutual, dude. Like, cheers, man. And yeah, so speaking about, like, getting into more joyful things, right? I don't want to start crying on stream. And, like, for now, we'll go into, like, the PMPT, right? So this is a certification that when it came out, I was like, I wanted to do it. And then, like, obviously life, like you said, life got in the way of in the last 6 months. But it's something I definitely want to tackle this year. So I have two questions. I'm not sure if you know the answer, but maybe you do. So the first one is, like, I've been studying, the stuff that Heath has on the academy. And I know they said the exam is going to change, like the OSCP. Before was like, 5, the machines and blah, blah, blah. And then they changed it to Active Directory, and they added some stuff and eliminated some buffer overflows and etc. So studying for what we're studying now, is it going to be this, enough to pass the exam if we take those 5 courses?
Yeah. So everything that's in the 5 courses directly reflects in some way, in some aspect, right? Like, what you're going to expect on the exam.
Okay.
So anything that would have been updated for the exam, which I can't speak directly to what was updated, but I know that if, like, whatever would have been updated would have directly been reflected on the training material. Because I know, like Python courses were just updated. There's a few other courses that were just updated within, like, the last 6 months or something like that. But really, I think most of the exam changes were kind of falling in line with, we were transitioning to kind of more of a cloud-based platform for exams. So that's kind of brand new for TCM.
Yeah.
Before, a student who wanted to take the PMPT would be given, like, a VPN file, and that's how you would connect to our environment.
Exactly.
Now it's all done through, through an online portal. So that we were kind of transitioning for that. So, like, a few things changed there, but again, nothing that would have directly kind of reflected maybe what you would experience within the exam. At some point, like, we had taken, like, hints away, but, like, we brought hints back.
Yeah, I saw that. And that's definitely a super benefit. So I have this thing up here right now. So for the PCRP. That's a
PCRP, yep.
yeah,
Practical
practical
Career Ready
career.
Professional.
Yeah. So I once wanted to touch on that a little bit. Like, so you have to have your PMPT in order to get that. So is it like a career? I don't even want to use the word career services, but is
That's
it
what
like,
it is. Yeah.
yeah? So it's like career services, like, okay, like mock interviews and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So
so I could walk you through it. So
yeah.
somebody who's interested in the PMPT and somebody who's interested in getting into pen testing, getting into
Mhm.
cybersecurity, the PCRP, the Practical Career Ready Professional, that might be something that they would be interested in because they're looking for more guidance. They're looking for a little
Mhm.
bit more, kind of like that. They go through a one-on-one first of all. So when you sign up for the PCRP, you're signing up and you're getting your PMPT with training. So you get a PMPT voucher. You get
Mhm.
access to all 5 of the courses for the PMPT. And then you schedule a one-on-one interview or one-on-one kind of like coaching. But it's really like 1-on-3 because there's like 3 of us in the call. And, we're sitting there getting to know you, understanding like, what you're looking to do going forward, and trying to build upon like your, uh, the things that you're good at, right?
Mhm.
Just kind of break that down simply. From there, once you complete your one-on-one with us, you go through, you do your PMPT, you do all the training, you pass your PMPT, and then we go through a resume review with you.
Mhm.
And then you go through our soft skills course. And the reason why we do that is because we want to make sure that, we want to look at your resume and see where we can make a few improvements, talk about that. And then when you go and go through the course, it's a soft skills course. It's over 4 hours long right now. It really kind of gives you a lot of like the fundamental practical knowledge that that employers are looking for, right? Talking a lot about soft skills, communication, building kind of your personal brand and things like that that are really going to help you kind of stand out. In there is also kind of a resume section. So you kind of will really go in and fix your resume based off of the videos that we have. You submit your resume to us. We do a review of that resume to tell you like things that you need to be changed, all that type of thing, all that stuff, right? And then at that point, once you get through all of that, and hopefully everybody's kind of followed along at this point, once you go through all of that, you're PMPT certified. You've gone through our soft skills course. You've updated your resume. You then kind of go to our mock kind of mock business that we have.
Mhm.
And you go there, you kind of read about what we do at that business, and then you apply for a pen test job through that mock business. So you go through kind of like a mock job application process,
Yep.
submit your resume, and then you schedule an interview. So then you schedule a mock interview with our team. There's 4 of us in the call, and we go through and do that mock interview live with you one-on-one. Give you feedback, and then we provide like a rubric after the fact that kind of breaks down like more any more feedback that we would have for that interview. So the whole purpose of this, if everybody's kind of followed along with my long-windedness here or whatever, it's really, if you look at what the PMPT is, which is the Practical Network Penetration Tester certification, again, in that is practical. Everything that TCM Security does, believes in, tries to really kind of introduce to the world is practical training, practical knowledge that people would expect in the real world. There's a lot of
Mhm.
certifications and things out there that are multiple choice, or they're like capture the flag based. The PMPT is not any of those things. The PMPT is designed to simulate a real world penetration test, engagement. So you have
Mhm.
5 days to complete the exam. That's 5 days to break into our network, to hack into our domain, right? And then you have 2 days to write the report and say, this is what you found. It's just like you're writing a real pen test report. Once you submit that report, you schedule a 15-minute debrief with one of our team members, and then you walk that person through what you did to gain access to our network. So
Mhm.
just like a real world engagement, you
Mhm.
have 5 days, which is a sufficient amount of time. It's not 48 hours or less, right?
Yes.
You have a sufficient amount of time, like a real world engagement, to figure out how to hack our network, right? And then of course writing that report just like you would in a real pen test. Once you do that for a client, once you are in a pen test, for a client and you complete that engagement, every single time you have to write a report and saying this is what your findings were, and this is how you did it, or maybe and these maybe steps that you could take to remediate that.
Exactly.
Submit that report, go through a debrief just like you would with your client. After you go through all of that in a real world engagement, you do that engagement, you write the report, you submit that report to the client, then you all get on a call and go over that report and say,
exactly,
this is what I found. And then, maybe we'll have questions, right? So that's kind of like the PMPT process. And then after that, it's like, let's talk about the practical skills that you're going to need to help you kind of crush that interview and just kill it on the job in general, right?
Yep.
So really just kind of like all around, like, how do we prepare people for the real world? How do we prepare people to be successful? And, between Heath and I and our entire team, we've put together all of the material, and you're talking 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years of combined experience between all of us that we've been able to kind of put together for that. Sorry.
So I have a question with this PCRP. So say, for example, like I want to be a blue teamer, right? And PMPT is not really my go-to because that's more on the offensive side. But I want to do more blue teaming, instant response, and threat intelligence, and all that good stuff. Can I come to TCM Security and still get something like that? Like, okay, I want to do this, but on the other side of the spectrum, not on the red team side, more on the blue team side. Is there something like that now or in the works? Because that might be something that's super beneficial, right? Because not everyone's going to want to do the PMPT. Maybe some people want to just come to you guys because you guys are awesome, and now it's a great company and a lot of good folks there. And I just want to be able to utilize this skill from you folks from the 50 years experience combined. Is that something that's in the works or something that's,
Yeah, potentially in the works. To answer your specific question, more blue team related, we're always looking for more content that is more blue team focused. I mean, we have a couple courses right now that kind of fall in line there, but we don't have anything that's coming down the pipeline certification wise. So that's kind of answering that. But to answer your question in relation to like more of the career services thing, that's something that we're looking to expand down the line for sure.
Sweet.
Don't know when yet, but right now we're kind of going through this trial run with it for sure and seeing how it goes. And so far so good. So super exciting.
Right. Cool. So we have a little question. I've heard a lot of people. I guess I can just put this up here. I'm new to this whole streaming thing, so I'm not on Zachy Boots' level.
No, man. No, you're doing great, man.
What would y'all recommend to get in real life experience, no work experience? I think doing what we just was talking about, right? The PMPT, right? Yeah. So I'll speak from my experience as a client or as an end user, and then Zach can speak from the inside out. I believe like if there was no real world experience, if you don't have much money, because remember, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, these things, it's free $99, but if you want to get like some of the expired or retired machines or, some other rooms for Try Hack Me, for example, you have to pay the VIP membership. At least with Heath, and you're going through this course, you can use VMware, which is free unless you get the like VMware Workstation Pro, or you can use VirtualBox, which is free $99, and you can get Windows Server 2019, 2022, all eval, which is free, Windows 10 Edge for free, like Kali is free. So you can pretty much go through his course like for free. Obviously, you get the membership, and then you can do everything for free, right? Like as long as you have a laptop that at least has 16 gigs of RAM, I think that's his requirements. You have one DC, one client, and your attack machine. That's the way I think, and you can use VulnHub machines, download VulnHub, but remember, it all depends on the power of your machine. Like me and Zach had, go way back, and I have a machine behind me, probably still hasn't turned it on. I haven't probably turned that on in ages, and it has 512 gigs of RAM. It's a Threadripper. Like it's a $4,000 machine, and it just sits back there. which I always get yelled at from not only him, like from other friends, like, dude, like, give me that machine. And I like my laptop, and I just like to use my laptop because it's portable. But having a machine that's actually suitable for what you want to do. But I'll stop my rant. Go ahead, Zach. Or get your drink and go ahead. Heath has an awesome lab walkthrough with simulation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Heath did like a pretty good explanation with this yesterday in a call. Because in some of like the PEH course, there's kind of like more like CTF walkthroughs, and it's really there to like lay kind of like foundations of like what you're going to see, you know. And basically he's like, there's not really a good way to kind of show some of these things, but doing some CTF boxes makes it a little bit easier, you know, to demonstrate, you know, some of the things that you would expect. But because the question that we had got was in relation to like, should I practice on like Hack the Box or practice on Try Hack Me before I take the PMPT? And the answer is definitely no, because PMPT is not a capture the flag, you know, style exam. There's no flags to capture in the exam. So if you go into it, you know, thinking that it's a capture the flag type of exam, you're going to have a bad time, you know. And we really try to drill that home a lot. So that's, I think, and then again with like a lot of the training that we do, because you're building a lot of your own labs and things like that, you're going to be more so simulating, you know, what you're seeing in the real world. And that's, I think, one of the things I think that we really highlight, and you know, really I think it is one of the better aspects. You know, a lot of people don't necessarily have the machine to build some of these labs, and I completely understand that. But there is so much value that you're going to gain just from building your own lab versus going on to any platform and simulating that, because it's a completely different experience. There's, you know, so many different challenges that you could face through building your own lab that you need to experience as an IT professional. And just spinning up a lab in the cloud, like, yeah, it makes some things easier. You're not truly getting that full experience.
Exactly.
Where so like building your own lab, I mean, that's essentially what you're going to be seeing and doing out in the real world. Like the virtualization exists everywhere. You know, everybody's using VMware or the cloud, of course, to some extent, but really like the cloud starts with virtualization. So, you know, download VirtualBox, download VMware or whatever, like, you know, spin up some labs. Like it's really beneficial to you.
And yeah, and if we transition from the cyber world to just regular IT, because that's where Zach, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like your background's more like, okay, IT, sysadmin, then you got into this world, right? Like web development and IT, and then this world, if I remember correctly. So I know a couple folks that have at the CCNP level from Cisco, and they did, you know, EVE-NG and stuff like that, or they just like did, for example, INE. They have their practice, and I like when I was doing Cisco stuff, INE was the way to go back then. I don't know who's the Cisco master today, what company, because I've been out of the Cisco world for some time, but like he has a CCNP, one friend, and he was stuck. He was thrown into an IDF. An IDF is where, you know, your closet of network equipment is, and he had to create an uplink for a trunk port, and he didn't understand how to plug things in to the uplink of a router, not a layer 2 or layer 3 switch, an actual router, an ASR router. So he didn't know, but he can remotely, he can do all the configuration because, you know, blah, blah, blah. You can just do it, show CDP neighbors, and you can see everything is connected. So going back to like the hands-on, the lab, having that physical touch, and I think Jeremy Charo from CBT Nuggets is big on that too. It's like there is definitely like a connection when you have that physical equipment. When I did, you know, a couple of my Cisco certs, I don't want to go on my certifications, but like so a couple of my Cisco certs, I had a lab, right? Like I didn't like EVE-NG or GNS3 or Packet Tracer. I didn't like that because you know, I wanted to physically click it and hit click, you know, and configure the terminal, configure your everything like that. So, and that does transition to the cyber world a little bit, you know, like, because if you understand how to build Active Directory, like I get messages, oh, I watched your videos, but my thing is not working. But they don't understand, okay, like when I create my virtual NICs, like I'm not using bridge, I'm not bridging to my local network, I'm using NAT networks. And if you don't understand what NAT is and how that traverses that data outside of your gateway, you're going to have a bad time, because it's like people are like, oh, host only. And then host only doesn't have a DHCP server. So you have to create IPs that are associated with that subnet. So there's having that trouble or that headache. You're definitely going to learn something, and you're not going to stay like, you know, use Google. You know what I mean? The same thing you asked me, you could have just asked even ChatGPT for
Yeah,
it
right.
fucking does everything for you. That's a whole nother topic. But like, you get the point. Like, guys, like learn how to research, especially if you transition to the cyber world. If you don't like to Google, if you don't like to use Google fool, Google hacking, or whatever you want to call it, you know, you're going to be behind.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, and I don't want to. I want to be clear, because I don't want to completely discredit any of the other like training platforms that are out there, like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, because I think those are amazing platforms to learn from. You know, and we'll all tell you that. Like there are, you know, a countless number of training providers and platforms out there, and you know, some of them do a really fantastic job of you know, delivering you material, and you know, everybody learns differently. I think is kind of like the most important you know, aspect that I could say from that, right? Like I could tell you all day, like I feel like spinning up a virtual lab on your own machine is the best way to learn, but that doesn't mean for you it's going to be the best way, right?
exactly.
You kind of have to take all this advice that you hear from people like us, you know, and you could write down pros and cons to each one of the, or each different bit of advice you hear from an individual, right? You're going to hear different things from everybody. Ask 100 different, you know, 100 different people the same question, you'll probably get 100 different results, right? And you kind of have to take that information and see what works best for you. Like there's so much information out there, which means, you know, there's so many different resources for you to utilize. And a lot of them are free. A lot of them have free trials, or a lot of them are like really cheap. So you have a lot of options out there for you to kind of like figure out what's going to work best for you. So I do want to, you know, stress that, you know, I'm not discrediting anybody by any means by saying like, by me thinking that like virtual, you know, doing things this way is the best way. It's a great way for sure. And you're going to learn a lot more than you would, I think,
1,000%.
you know, so
I'm
that's kind of like the only
like,
benefit that I see differently. And you could follow along with a lot of these different training providers out there, even if they offer like a virtual environment, you could still follow along and spin up your own environment and do the same thing. So there's that option out there too. So
exactly, like my go-to, if you're going to go to Azure, like Kev Tech, he's a, you know, he likes to do his labs in Azure, like other folks. Like my thing, if you're looking to be a cloud engineer, you're looking to work in the cloud in Azure and, you know, doing all that stuff, yeah, set your stuff up there, you know. But I don't know, I like my stuff local. I just like to have my little rack, and I have my server, and I have everything here, and I have, you know, management over it, not some cloud service that sits in God knows where and who's accessing my stuff, especially if there's like confidential stuff. But let's transition to like about YouTube, right? But everyone, so like, I guess my first question, I know the answer. I'm 99% sure I know the answer, but what inspired you to make your YouTube? That's question number one. And if folks don't know, obviously you change your YouTube channel. I found that out the hard way because I was trying to look for you. I'm like, where's IT career question? Like I was actually looking, and then like, even like in my list, and I'm so used to seeing one thing, I passed you like 4 times. I'm like, I don't know where Zach is. But so you went from IT career questions to run CMD. Obviously, folks don't know that's actually, if you're a rap, you know, run DMC. But whatever. Yeah, like, so first question, what inspired you to make a YouTube channel 100 years ago, and why did you change your channel name?
yeah, sure. The whole reason I you could look back, like all the interviews I've ever done. The whole reason I started YouTube was just to help people. Like I just wanted to go out there and help. I was working with a guy at a hospital, like the hospital that we were at, and he has a YouTube channel. And it was like within weeks that I had started working at the hospital, he was like, "Dude, you would be so good on YouTube. Like, please try it. Please do it." And he like would push me for. He pushed me for I think a couple months because I'd started in May or June, I believe, and it wasn't until September of 2014 that I had created the channel. So there was months that he was just like, "Dude, come on, you got to do it. You got to do it." And I was just like, "I don't even know what I would do." You know, he's like, "Well, you like, you know, like you like helping people, like just figure it out." And I was like, "All right, you know." So yeah, I did. It kind of like it evolved, I guess, into what it was. Like this one day I did a video that was like how things that you should know before getting into IT. And it got a lot of traction. And I was like, you know, this is crazy. Like why did this weird video of me talking about things that you should know before getting in IT get traction? And it was because like there was nobody out there really talking about IT. In 2014, 2015, nobody on YouTube was really talking about IT as a whole, right? Like information technology. Everybody was talking about development. There's just developer channels left and right everywhere you look. That's all anybody talks about, programming development. I think like the biggest YouTuber that talked about IT was Eli the computer guy. And by that time, like Eli the computer guy was like already like burnt out on YouTube and just doing whatever weird stuff he's probably still doing to this day. So there again, at that point, there was really nobody who was like talking really just generalized IT things that I guess people needed to know or hear and things, you know, like that. So I saw an opportunity, you know, I'm not going to lie, like there's definitely an opportunity there. And I felt like I had already been working in IT for, gosh, at that point, like 13 years or whatever the heck, a long time. Like I have knowledge that I could share. And it turned into something that I never expected. Like, it, you know, like even like my friend pushing me to do the channel, he's just like, you know, he enjoyed helping people too, right? Like that's the whole reason why he did it. He's like, I really think you would enjoy this. And you know, he wasn't saying like there's a ton of money in it or anything like that. Like he made some money from it, but it wasn't like it didn't impress me. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like that's great, you know. That wasn't appealing to me. I think at the time he had like 30,000 subscribers, and like I didn't really care about that. I appreciate it, like I value that, but like I don't care about that. I really don't. Like yeah, like that it was just to help people. That's why the whole channel is created. That's why I do still what I do to this day with TCM Security, is because I get to help people. And I'm very, very lucky that everything evolved the way that it has, for sure. So getting to why the channel change was IT career questions, because you know that was kind of like a great resource for people to go to get a lot of their IT career questions. You know, I have almost 1,000 videos published on that channel. It's like 990 something. I'm like 4 or 5 videos away from 1,000, I think, which I'm kind of excited about. That's honestly. But like, so there's, you know, there's 900 something videos that I've done in the last 8 years that have probably answered like every single question somebody could have getting into IT. And I don't have the time to do it anymore. I really don't, and I feel bad about that. And I just, you know, I'm not IT career questions anymore. You know, I don't want to be that, you know, and YouTube has been the biggest struggle and thing for me in my life. I talk about that all the time too, you know, like, so many people like want to be YouTubers or want to be influencers and all this, and it's just so overrated. It's not, you know, I did it full time. You know, I quit my job working at a after the guy who told me, you know, like you should do YouTube, you know, like I completely just like surpassed him, you know, from 2014 to 2018 when I had started there, and he had already been doing YouTube like 6 or 7 years, you know, before that. And here I am, like, you know, 4 years later, like, hey, I'm quitting my job here and I'm doing YouTube full time, you know. I thought it was going to be amazing, and I thought it was going to be all sunshine and rainbows, and it wasn't. It sucked. I hate it, and I would never do it again. So,
and that's true that you say that, you know, and that's what. And I guess before I have that, like, so how long did it take you to go from 0 to 100,000 subscribers? Because I feel like I'm never going to get there. I don't know, like, if it's just like, and sometimes I think, I don't know if you have this, like, I have like 20 something thousand subscribers, right? And I post a video and I get like 500 views. Where are those people that subscribed? If you're not going to watch my videos, you know, it's like, that's the one thing that like drives me up the wazoo, you know. It's like,
yes, I mean, I have 250,000 subscribers, and I think my last video I published got 1,000 views, 1,300 views. So, man, I could talk to you about YouTube all day, right? I could do this all day long with you. I forgot what I was going to say though. So
about the 0 to 100,000 subscribers.
Oh, that, yeah. So you have to look at it differently now, because I started in 2014. Again, there was nobody. I'm like serious. There was, I say nobody, but legitimately there was probably maybe like 2 to 3 other people that had like similar types of YouTube channels to me at that time in 2014. Like that is very, very important, like to the evolution that I've had, because like I didn't really have a lot of competition, and I have a background in like internet marketing, search engine optimization. I knew how to play the algorithm, right? Like I knew how to hit keywords. Like, so there's like so many different keywords where if you would search for it, like I would be number 1, but I wouldn't just be number 1. I'd be number 1. I'd be number 2. I'd be number 4. I'd be number 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, so that's what I did. And like, I was able to do that from, you know, 2014 to basically like 2020. When 2020 happened, a lot of stuff happened, you know. So the pandemic basically increased the amount of influencers, the amount of creators that we had tenfold, right? The competition that's out there for people creating content is literally like 10 times what it was in 2019 even. Like that's not a joke. Like that's serious. Look at TikTok, right? Like, so, you know, when you look at the fact that, yeah, you have 25,000 subscribers, right? And you're getting 500 views, right? Well, you're competing now with people who are subscribing, you know, like your subscribers, our subscribers also subscribe to God knows how many other channels, right? So their feeds are just submerged with content non-stop. So you're not going to show up unless you're constantly delivering, you know. So you're not going to get the views unless you're constantly delivering content, or, you know, constantly delivering the same standard quality of content every single video. So if you look at Mr. Beast, prime example of this, right? You look at John Hammond, he's a great example of this as well. I'll even bring up Network Chuck because he follows a formula and it delivers every single time. The consistency, the amount of work, the pressure, everything that goes into that is so much more than anybody could ever imagine until they're actually doing it every single day. Delivering, developing, creating content is soul crushing.
You know,
literally soul crushing.
It is. And I, you know, and thank you for sharing that. And the reason why, like, I created it, probably folks, like, it's when in 2020, right? Like, you know, when this pandemic, so I was stuck at home. I was doing a PCNSE from Palo Alto with a couple of friends, and I was setting up Palo Alto firewalls virtually, and I would put these videos, like me doing it in my house, on Google Drive and say, hey, Zach, hey, Ken, hey, this is how we configure static NAT, dynamic NAT. This is how we're going to be doing this, the ACLs, and blah, 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 from in firewalls. And then my friend Ken, he was like, oh, dude, just throw this on YouTube. I'm like, I don't even have a YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know that it was, and this is the God honest truth, 3 years ago, whenever, I didn't know that, you know, like I had a YouTube since like 20, whenever I had my Gmail account, because I guess like I probably wrote a comment on someone's YouTube channel and I had to create a channel, because in order to create, you know, put a comment, you have to have a channel. And I never knew any of that. So yeah, and it's crazy because just putting out like just a walkthrough video or just an informational video, like, even though like I don't go into crazy editing and doing, like, I try to blur out something when when I was doing something, I don't remember, it's like my IP address. Literally, it took me 5 hours to figure out, like, Googling how to just like blur out something. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. Like, for what, 10 views? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'd rather just do like hack the box or do whatever, or just talk to folks. And obviously, like with YouTube changing and all that stuff, it's and it's something like that really got to me. And I almost quit like making content when I first started, because I was showing how to like hack Wi-Fi, like do stuff like that. And I didn't know like there was a, don't do this thing, like a policy. Like, I was doing it in my own network at my house. Like, hey, like, this is how you do it. This is how you run the aircrack NG. This is how you compromise this. This is how you get the 4-way handshake, whatever the thing was that we were talking about in that video. And literally I got a strike. I'm like, what the hell? And then I got another strike the next week. I'm like, what? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I see Hackersploit, I see all these people, like, they're talking about hacking everything. Like, what am I doing that they're not doing, or vice versa? So that's where I was like, nah, this is not cool. And that's when I went, like, I was like, I'm not going to do hacking stuff. I'm just going to do like Windows Server. And that's when we talked. I think we spoke when I had an interview with CBT Nuggets. I think you did too. Like, create some stuff back then, and I had to create a video on setting up Active Directory. And I guess I didn't get selected, obviously, and because I didn't feel comfortable like making content. I wasn't still, I wasn't in that mind. Like, it took me 10 minutes just to say, hey guys, this is me. But like, it's just crazy where YouTube is today, like with all the content creators. And you're right, that like, so to answer
I think it took like 4 years to answer your question. I think it was 2018 or 2019, I think, when I hit 100,000, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was gosh, the first year I think I only got like 1,000 subscribers on the channel. And then from the second to the third year, I don't know that I hit 10,000 at that point, but once I hit the third year is when everything kind of just exploded.
Nice. So I guess, like, for newcomers, right? Like, I guess this can transition to the new folks. And I'm still like a new kid on the block, I think. Like, for someone that's saying, okay, like, this is my intake and my input, like, don't do it to make 100,000 subscribers and make $1 million and stuff like that. Like, if you want to deliver something, deliver it to, like you say, help folks. And that's what I do it now. Like, I don't care if I get 10 views, because those 10 views might have helped someone or not. God only knows. But they clicked on that video for some reason. So for someone new that they want to become a content creator, I don't like to use the word influencer either, like content creator, what is your advice? Like,
don't become a content creator. Really, the advice, it just falls back to, like, if that's something you want to do, like, I'll encourage somebody to do it if that's what they want to do. And I will help somebody if that's what they want to do. And I've literally offered this to so many people, and some people have taken advantage of that. Like, I've text messaged from people like the other day, like, asking advice, but like, you have to want to help people, especially when it comes to IT stuff, right? Especially when it comes to this space. Like, that's really the only way it's going to be helpful. And it might not just be like that it's helpful, for you to want to be a content creator or whatever. Like, the whole purpose of it is to really just kind of give back to the community. And, down the line, just because you're doing these things, like, a lot of opportunity can open up by doing this, like, by creating content. I always encourage it. Like, I have Active Directory videos, and Heath and I just talked about this the other day, because this is something that he does also as a content creator, right? Like, I have an Active Directory series that I created like 4 years ago. I'll still refer back to that series to watch it, so that I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. it's like a, like it's just this archive of information that I've built at this point where I know like, oh, I've talked about this before. I've done a walkthrough on this before. I can go find it, do it again. Like
Exactly.
I've done that so many times. And when like, I love to share this story, and I wish, and I hope I could find this video one day. I don't think I have it, but it was when I was learning Python. And I really kind of dove like really deep into just trying to, hang on, sorry, trying to learn Python. Dove real deep into it. Because I wanted to write a script to scrape things. Like I wanted to scrape Indeed for job postings and things like that. And yeah, I spent like, good 2 weeks. I don't know why my camera's doing that. Good two weeks just diving into it, like head first, and the whole time I was recording myself, like going through it. I would record my screen and then just for no reason other than just for me. And so for like 2 weeks, I have like these videos, and it's just like, I hope I still have them, because there's this point in this video, there's just hours upon hours of videos, me being frustrated. Like, why is it red all the time? Like interpreters like, no, blah, 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 so frustrating. But then it got to this point where like at the end, like I finally made it work. It finally scraped Indeed for like the job postings, and it delivered in an Excel sheet. It delivered everything that I wanted it to do. And, like at this point, like I've not even like, not thinking like I'm recording myself. Right. But like, I was so excited. Like you could just see like just the look and excitement on my face. And I remember like after that, like, oh my God, I recorded this. Right. And I watched that and I was like, I myself genuinely saw like the look of excitement on my face because I finally figured it out. And that's something like I share that with people because I think that could be encouraging for you. Like I've like just recording your own, like yourself doing a walkthrough, recording yourself learning something new. It doesn't have to be for everybody else to see. You don't have to share it with everybody. I would encourage you to like upload it on YouTube unlisted though, so you could refer back to it, of course. But you'll never know when that might come in handy again, or you never know like a moment that you'll capture that will stick with you forever, like that moment did for me. Because like that's just like a, if I look at anything new that I'm trying to learn now, and I'm getting frustrated and like wanting to like give up, like it's like I can think back to that moment where I was like, oh my God, that was awesome. I have to cough.
You're fine. But yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think me and I see KevTech, Simon, awesome to see you folks. Like same thing with him. Like we were talking about this the other day as well. Like making these videos to, enjoy the process, like it's a journey. There's no destination. There's no like, okay, he was talking about, he knew Active Directory for so long, right? Like he worked at Active Directory. He has many videos. But we were talking about the Cobros account, right? And it's like, okay, the job he has now and everything that he's going through, it's like, oh man, if this is enabled, this as an attacker, you can, take control of this, right? So it's just crazy that, you can think you know something, but then you just, learn something else and do something else. Thanks, Zach. There you go. But yeah, so definitely like, just enjoy the process. Like, don't try to, compete with the next person. It's like when you go to the gym, and we will finish off in another 15 minutes. Like, kudos to you. Like from when I first met you to today, man, like you look awesome. Keep it up. Keep moving, keep doing whatever you're doing to stay fit. And it's like the same exact thing, right? Like if myself, I'm not going to put Zach or anyone else on, whatever, on the spotlight. Like if I go to the gym, right? If I go do 10 pull-ups and then go do a bench press, and then there's, Hulk next to me doing 300 pounds, like nothing, like I'm not going to be like, yeah, like I'm done because I'm never going to get there. You know what I mean? Like, so I think like trying to compete with the next person is just stay in your own lane. You know what I mean? And that's something I did for so long. I think I was talking to Kevin or other folks, like I didn't want people to know who I was. You know what I mean? Like I was under the radar for like all my life, in this world until 3 years ago. I didn't even put my government name on any social media. No one knew who Patrick Gorman was. You know what I mean? Like no, like I didn't want people to know anything about me, or be able to, for example, Google, or find out where you live. And then it's easy, like, okay, this person lives in this area, let's see if he owns his house. You can go to the local blah blah boom. You can just do some OSINT or reconnaissance, right? In this world, it's like, nah, son, like that's not happening to me. You know what I mean? No. So if you go look up Pasquale Maroni, you can do that all day, so that's it's just crazy. I don't know why we went on that topic, but a dream to do 10 pull-ups. You can do 10 pull-ups. Pull-ups are pretty fun. But
I think you would ask like what to be a content creator or whatever, but
yeah.
Consistency is the biggest thing. If that's something you really want to do, it's just consistency. That's what it takes, and that's the hardest thing, because it's really difficult to consistently deliver the same level of like quality content all the time.
No,
so
and I'm suffering with that. You know what I mean? It's like even just coming up with ideas. This is like, okay, like this is a cool idea, right? Like, and have someone once a week for an hour, just do a live stream and get to know the person. Even there's folks I never even talked to that I know, but I never like had any interaction like this. So it's like, okay, like let's get to know each other. Like Toddy, like I knew he, young kid working in cyber, blah, blah, blah. But what got you into a pen tester? How can someone at your age become a pen tester? And how did you do it? Because, that kid can be my son, probably your son too. Like we might look young, but I'm not a young buck anymore. So
you can see all the gray.
I got mad grades. I just cover it with some hair and just do some gel, and
that's why I wear a hat.
But yeah, man. So I guess the last question is like, for 2023, like what is your goals at TCM Security? Let's go back to the TCM world. Like,
gosh, you want to talk about that? My goals at TCM Security. I feel like my goal is always the same, really, and it's just to continue to help people. And that's kind of what I tell Heath all the time. It's like I joke around about this, and it sounds terrible. It's like I hate saying it at the same time because it sounds like I'm full of myself or something, and I'm really not. But I always say like I'm a Zach of all trades. But like I think it's like I know a lot about a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different areas where I can help, and I just have like a very unique experience in the, it's 2023. So in the 20 plus years that I've worked in technology with technology, and it all started with marketing. It all started with building websites and learning that, like, so like just the evolution of like where I am, as a human being and individual, right? Like I have a lot of experience that I bring to the table, and that helped in many ways, right? I get to touch a lot of things for TCM Security is where that's kind of leading to. Like I get to help in a lot of ways. So like, my specific goal, like, is just like to continue to help people, and through whatever means that is, through my position there, which is a lot of marketing stuff. We just put out a course. I developed that like whole course pretty much, that we just like for the PCRP, like that's my baby right there. When Heath even put it on like LinkedIn, like when I got hired there a year and a half ago, like I said, hey, I can help you with your social media. That's fine, because that's all the position was for. It was just he wanted help with social media, and I was like, I could help you with that. That's fine. Like, but I could do all these other things for you. Like, let me help you build out our academy. Like, let me help you build out really like what we're offering here, because like you're truly doing something that is changing people's lives. And that's like something that, I look up to Heath Adams, like I'm 5-6 years older than that guy. I look up to this guy every single day. Like he inspires me every day. Like, it's just, and he's like the most genuine guy, and not a lot of people get to see that. I'm extremely lucky and blessed that I get to work with this guy, for sure, because we share the same values, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
he really wants to help people and he's made that very clear. You know, he gives back to the community all the time and he had prior to me joining, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude is just like, I don't know, man. He's great. He's just a great guy, right? Um, so yeah, I don't know. To answer your question, it's just hard to say, man. We're doing so many different things right now. Like the
Mm-hmm.
overall goal is to just continue to help people.
Cool.
And
Because I need
we're
help.
doing that.
I
Yeah.
got a stream deck. You want to help me set it up? It's still sitting in the box from Christmas.
Yeah, the only thing I use it for right now is to make sure my camera goes back into focus, apparently. And it has just like I can look at how long my computer was on, how much percentage my CPU is at, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
So,
The one thing actually, I know this is off topic. Literally, like I want to be able to like if I'm doing a video, like I want to hit a button and then okay, go to like full screen, like it's big me, hit a button and goes back to here with my little circle in the corner. Like
yeah,
that's
Stream Deck will
be
do
able to
that.
toggle, right? And that's all I need to do because I
Stream
hate
Deck will
like,
do
okay,
that.
guys, let's join to the desktop and then stop recording and then change everything and hit record. It looks like it's like a, you know, a stutter step. But yeah, that'll be cool. But yeah, like there's always it's always good to have that, you know, person to look up to and to follow. Like, you know, kudos to Heath. You know, like you're someone that looks up to him. I have those too. Like I probably said this in many. I wouldn't be where I'm at today in the IT space if it wasn't for someone called Keith Barker, right? Like I watched so many of his videos from CCNA, CCNP, you know, the CCIE level, all this CCI, you know, security stuff, and that's pretty much when I was doing security. He's the one I'm like, oh, I want to be like that guy when I grow up, right? Like he had his, you know, all these things, and he has that well-rounded, right? Like he's not just a network guy. He's not just this. He's not just that. That guy is like well-rounded, and that's one thing I'm like, okay, like I don't want to be like just a server guy or just a networking guy or just a VMware guy or, you know, just a, you know, this is before I got into security. And, but yeah, like always have that little, you know, like you said in the beginning, like have these little communities, discords, you know, communities to join and, you know, ask for help. Like, don't be like, oh, if I ask for help, I'm looking like a dum-dum. You know what I mean? Because look, I might just look like a dum-dum right now. Like I can do a lot of stuff, but I try to do that damn stream deck. That thing is totally foreign to me. You know what I mean? Like, but I can do some stuff that some other folks can't do. And one little caveat before I go, like, if folks don't know, I'm not a nerd. You know what I mean? I don't like
It's
computers.
so true. It's so true. It's so funny because we work together, you know,
Yeah.
for some time. So like I got to see you a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you are the least nerdy person I've ever met who works in IT. I feel like
Yeah.
you
And
don't
it's
fit
so
that
true.
mold.
Like after this, yeah, I have my, you know, my day job and stuff like that. But after like 5 o'clock, I go to the gym. I go do like I'm not on a computer. I don't play video games. I never played a video game. You know, like so when folk like where I'm at now, they talk about game day. We're gonna talk about COD, and I'm like, I don't what is COD? I have no idea what you're talking about. Like Atom Strikes or whatever, Counter Strikes and Fortnites and whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm out. Peace. You know what I mean? Go talk your stuff. Like that's something I never played. Like yeah, I played Atari 100 years ago. You know, with some kids in New York.
Dated
Like maybe
yourself there,
Nintendo and Super Nintendo when you had to blow the fucking cartridge, you know, to make it work. Like after that, I never really played games. Like I never got into it. It's never been my thing. Like I'm more of a street kid, more like let's go play wiffle ball or handball or something like that. So, but yeah, that's a fun fact if folks didn't know. I never played video games and I'm not a nerd behind this computer. You know, like Zach said, he got to know me a little bit more than just some kid on the internet, you know, and hopefully, you know, people get to know me a little more than just a person on the computer because just like Heath, right? I don't know Heath from a hole in the wall, right? And this is how I'm going to end it. But like, you know, he posts stuff about his successes, right? On LinkedIn, on these, wherever. And it's like people hate on him. It's like, know the guy before you start criticizing him, right? Like he's got where he's at today alone, you know, like he's put it out there. He's put out some stuff, he can, you can go watch it. I'm not going to deliver anything on his behalf, but it's like, be happy for the guy. You know what I mean? Why hate? You know what I mean? Like, he's just trying to say, take it like this. This dude came from nothing and he made an empire. So if you came from nothing, why can't you do it? You know what I mean? What's stopping you? You have 2 legs, you have a voice, you have a hands, like you
don't have to give him a pat on the back or anything, and you don't have to like it. Like,
exactly.
that's fine. You don't have to, but like, you also don't have to take the time out of your life to show your like that you're displeased about it, right? Like,
exactly.
why are you wasting your precious time to let somebody know that you are unhappy about something?
Exactly.
Come on now.
That's a good point too. It's like, if you're gonna hate, keep scrolling. Just like,
pretty much, like,
why?
Yeah, exactly. Do you?
But it is the top of the hour. I really want to say thank you, Zach, and hopefully, we'll definitely keep in touch outside of here. Hit up Heath, and that'll be lovely to get to know him a little bit and have a chit chat, pick his brain, and yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Any last words before we go?
Man, I hate when people ask me that question. I don't know. Just keep learning. It's IT is just like an ever evolving field. So just keep learning, keep having fun with it. That's
exactly. Awesome, dude. All right, everyone, thank you so much. If you're looking at this or watching this after the fact, if you have any questions, leave in the comments. And if it's for me, I'll answer. If it's for Zach, you know where to find him. He's the main man. So much love, kid. Thank you so much. And until next time, have a beautiful day, dude.
Take care.